So far in this section, we talked about how we can use BART for market research, for qualitative research, whether it's academic or industry report, and we use specific templates to get the exact information that we needed from long form text. Then we talked about writing. In writing, we provided it a few tips and context so that it doesn't have to write from scratch, because that makes sure that the output is very relevant and humanized, compared to if I just give it a prompt and ask it to write it for me from scratch. So I provided it some context of my landing page and a few writing instructions on how I wanted to structure my copy. Now what I want to talk about is a slightly different prompting technique that is very powerful and has really helped me in building my content journey. And this applies perfectly to the businesses too, so that's why I wanted to cover it. Here I'm going to try and write a new informational newsletter based on an existing one. Keep in mind, this is not my own newsletter. This is a passage from Ali Abdal's email that he sends on a weekly basis. Ali Abdal is one of my favorite YouTubers. He covers life, productivity, and making your own side hustle work, a content creator. And this is basically a Q&A section where they discuss content generation for new beginners. So I copied a few lines from these passages, the first two paragraphs, and I pasted them here in Claude with a prompt saying, in a similar style of writing, talk about building a career in data science. So something completely different, but I wanted to keep the same style and tone. Claude comes back by saying, I've been getting a lot of questions lately about how to build a successful career in data science. It's a hot field right now with so much potential for growth and impact. But it can also be a bit overwhelming, especially if you're just starting out. So I thought I'd share the most common questions I get along with my thoughts and advice. This looks very humanized. I don't see anything that makes me think that this is generated by AI. What skills do I need to become a data scientist? There are a few skills that every data scientist should have in their toolkit. First and foremost, you need to be comfortable with programming languages. So you can pause this and read through the entire answer if you're interested, but the overall idea is conveyed that it's writing very humanized content based on the passage I provided. On the other hand, if I go to ChatGPT, I provided the same text and the same prompt in a similar style, but it did not understand what I'm asking it to do. It first started talking about Joe Hudson's Life Connection course, which is here, so it did not realize that it just have to pick up the content writing style, but rather picked up the entire content as well in a similar tone of writing. Maybe this will work. This is what prompting is about, guys. You gotta play around with your prompts to understand that what works and what doesn't. I hope you're all having a stellar week. Before diving into today's topic, I wanted to share a quick update with you. This April I'm expecting, okay, sure, it's the same thing. It can't just ignore the passage. Now on to the heart of this week's email, which almost had me stumped until I remembered the fastest response received Q&A format. Many of you mentioned the field of, so again, it's decent writing. It's trying to follow it, but it's not as good as Claude, which nailed it. And you can pause the video and read through it to understand the difference your own too.